Good evening, Neonates. JB Illusion here with another clan reveal, and this one looks to be very interesting. Rebels, Rabble, and Rejects. I do believe this is Clan Brujah.
From down here, among the tepid puddles of waste and piss, you can tell this city is rotten.
Somebody's got to do something about
We've
it.
seen it before, everywhere, for centuries. The only change you will get is one crooked pig replaced by the next little piggy, so it'll turn even fatter and more corrupt.
The prince?
Change is not an apple that falls when it is ripe. You have to make it fall. Injustice is gunpowder. We will set it all ablaze.
Oh,
Fresh blood, from the top down, even if it means spilling some.
alright, I'm intimidated. Incredibly intimidated, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Clan Brujah is very offensive. Whoa! What the heck was that? Potence, maybe? Well, let's take a look at the official website that I do believe has been updated. The Brujah are coming, ladies and gentlemen. And it seems that they're not very happy about the status quo of Kindred Society. From the trailer, the woman in question set... I'm assuming a Venture's limo on fire and took out his bodyguards. I'm very intrigued to learn more about their powers. There was this kind of like stomp or wave power that she did in her trailer, and it also showed up in the gameplay footage that they showed at the end of the trailer, and it looked really interesting. Is that Potence? Are you channeling power and then just setting it free? I want to see more, because there's talk of a dynamic combat system, and that looked incredibly dynamic to me. So let's go down and take a look. Yes, yes. The Brujah symbol, and yes, the culprit of whatever the heck is going on behind this gentleman. In the last video, we kind of speculated that maybe, just maybe, it could have been a Gangrel or a Nosferatu, but no, it was a Brujah who either got really, really upset or did frenzy. I'm kind of upset. Frankly, I love the Gangrel clan, but it's looking like we're not going to see them in the first, I guess you could say, rollout of the game. They'll definitely make DLC at some point. A lot of people are saying that it'll probably be before, a little bit before Season of the Wolf. I tend to agree with that. You know, we could get a foray into nature being led by a Gangrel ally, or at least a Gangrel that we met up with from some previous DLC. It would be very intriguing. Also, we have their associated disciplines. And there's 4. Or are these just abilities? Okay, we'll take a look at that in a second. Let's go to their official clan page. Alright, the Brujah. The Pacific Northwest has a long history of attracting outcasts and drifters. Interesting. Those looking to keep some level of anonymity and independence, the Brujah have never been a large part of the Seattle Kindred community, which might go to show that they don't really have much control in this area. The Brujah aren't exactly happy because there's not enough of them, or they don't have enough pull to get what they want. So, you know, they could hit some open rebellion, maybe set up an anarch community. Intriguing. But when they do show up to the party, they make their presence known immediately. Yes, she did from that trailer. Many of the Seattle Brujah are leftovers from failed anarch movements in the past century, most choosing to remain unaffiliated or loosely affiliated with the city's political factions, or at least they like to claim that. Loosely affiliated, okay, but it does mean that they are possibly being manipulated by some of the people higher up the food chain. Intriguing. Yo! Yikes. Generally, Brujah gather at a bash, which can be loosely summed up as a sort of fight club for the undead, which is amazing. They use these events to assert their physical superiority to the rest of the clans and to celebrate the raw power of their bloodline. That's not to say they don't invite other clans to enter, but it's rare that any but the Brujah dominate the bash. The champions of these fights are rumored to make good money, hiring themselves out as muscle for anyone who can afford them. Interesting. And I wonder if this gentleman right here happened to have won a bash. I also wonder what would happen if an intrepid thin blood decided to enter a bash and defeat a Brujah who happened to have gained the ire of his clan. Supposedly, business is booming in Seattle these nights. So that would be a very interesting plot hook, the idea of a bash. The Thin Bloods really don't have anything going for them but this large Brujah gathering. Intriguing. What do you guys think in the comments down below? I would like to hear what you have to say. Among vampires, the Brujah's powers are as overwhelming as their convictions. The player who chooses to join the rabble. 2 new ancient disciplines become available in addition to their individual powers from their Thin Blood past. So we will get to keep the Thin Blood powers that we have. I was thinking about that, but it could be that we could focus on specific Thin Blood powers to better accentuate a aggressive playstyle, like the Brujah are probably up to. Remember how I was talking about in the last video, Potence, how I felt like a couple of abilities that the Thin Bloods have would be fantastic for a Nosferatu or a sneak style, whereas the pull and levitate would be really, really good for an aggressive style? Just saying. Let's check out Potence. The signature discipline of the Brujah imbues their undead bodies with the pinnacle of raw kindred strength. Nobody underestimates the strength of a Brujah twice. So Fist of Cain, Potence's first activated power, allows the Brujah to deliver a devastating punch that turns walls into rubble and throws enemies through the air. Beautiful. Oh my god. Can you imagine punching someone with Fist of Cain and then pulling them back to you with a Thin Blood power and then punching them again? Tearing off the limbs and causing collateral damage. The second slot enhances these devastating effects even further. And Earthshock has to be the ability that we saw in the trailer and in the gameplay footage. The second active power smashes the ground with titanic force. The impact causes a shockwave around the player, damaging and knocking down anyone who dared to stray too close. After further upgrades, with the 4 and 5 slots, the ground cracks under the Brujah's onslaught, sending fissures outwards and damaging anyone caught in the cataclysm. Use of Potence powers in front of unsuspecting mortals is a Masquerade violation, so we do have that. What's interesting is, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, maybe we'll take a look at that in a little bit. It seemed like the other abilities, but we'll take a look at the Masquerade violations. Celerity. Some kindred strike faster, dodge quicker, and escape more nimbly than any mortal creature could hope to. They use Celerity, the discipline of pushing their body's speed beyond all limits. Unseen Storm. 2. The first active allows the vampire to dash in a direction of their choice at such a speed as to momentarily disappear from view. Amazing. Allowing them to land attacks, dodge around enemies, or get away before the dust has time to settle. Characters struck along the way of the dash get knocked down. The second slot further enhances the Unseen Storm. Okay. So it seems like it's not like before where we would slow time around us in Vampire the Masquerade 1, which I could understand because Celerity at a certain point kind of became a little OP. Accelerate. The second active opens up speed so fast that everything else in the world appears to slow down to a virtual standstill. So okay, it's been moved off to a higher tier Celerity ability, and the blood cost is pretty high out of 5. Assailants seem frozen in their attacks. Cars crawl forward, bullets zip by lazily, and the vampire can get up to the kinds of stunts that, with a popular 80s synth track in the background, would make an awesome movie scene. So we are going to get that OP Celerity, just not at first. The 4 and the 5 slots allow the vampire to further improve their acceleration. If any innocent mortal can spot a use of celerity, it's a masquerade violation. Okay, which I'm assuming comes with its own gigantic problems. I just want to take a look at the Thin Bloods really quickly. So Bat Swarm and Glide do not seem to have any masquerade violations tied to them. Intriguing. So when you're among mortals, you might want to reach for your Thin Blood abilities a little bit more than some of your other abilities. If we do get Nosferatu, of course, their abilities in Obfuscate would definitely be the best for some stealth stuff, but then again, if you do happen to be a Brujah and you gotta sneak around something that cause a fight, Nebulation might not be too terrible. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that, ladies and gentlemen. We do, of course, have the last clans, and now that we know, who started the fight in the diner, we now know pretty much everything I want to say. Maybe you could throw an asterisk next to that, especially for this. I really want to kind of know what you guys think this area is going to be, because I mean, my mind is telling me that there's a Nosferatu somewhere in the back rooms, just out of sight, hidden in the shadows. But then again, this area is kind of derelict. You see like glass bottles, beer bottles just in the area. It's not very kept up. There's a couple lights. Maybe it's slightly industrial. I'm not entirely sure, but it kind of feels like an abandoned space that any kindred could use as their own kind of like haven. Anyone could be running through here. It could be the Malkavians. Maybe a bunch of Malkavians get here together and watch out for each other. Maybe it's the Nosferatu, or it could be some of the clans that a lot of people have been talking about that they want. There are a lot of people who want the Tzimisce in, and maybe just out of sight there's a Tzimisce, in a back room with somebody, just working on their pores. That's it. Tell me what you guys think might be in this area. I'm insanely curious, to be completely honest. I don't think that they're going to, let the cat out of the bag just yet. I think that they're really going to be moving on over here to the Venture as a very, very nice follow-up to the Brujah. But inquiring minds really want to know, are we going to get the Malkavians? Are we going to get the Nosferatu? Or are we going to get something a little bit more sinister, which I think a lot of people do want? With the state of Vampire the Masquerade V5, a lot of people have been moving around, leaving the Sabbat. A lot of clans are in interesting positions. So tell me what you guys think in the comments down below about who this could possibly represent, as well as what you all think about the Brujah clan. I'm happy that they're in. I'm upset that my Gangrel aren't going to be a part of this. But as I've said before while we're talking about this, just the idea of our Thin Blood getting in on a Brujah bash, going toe-to-toe with this guy, I hope it's this guy, would be amazing. Thank you all for watching. Please be excellent to each other, and good evening, neonates.